Hi, it's the 9th of April. Welcome to another Tai Chi video class. We'll be taking about 50 minutes, just a bit less than an hour on this, I'm guessing. So we'll begin. Take a really good in-breath, fill the lungs, and on the out-breath, the closing down. I can't over-stress the importance of this closing down aspect. So really on the out breath, we want that sense of going to sleep inside yourself. So good in breath, good out breath. You can take the first few cycles a little slower. And then having pulled the energy away from the superficial mind, begin to awaken a deeper part, listen in and around the waist, in and around the center of the body, where all the big forces are rippling through the body. So concentrate in and around the waist. It's turning, lifting, falling, shifting from side to side. So full concentration in and around the waist. And then put the mind down into the leg that you're about to sink into. So as we know, this not only listens into the leg, but energizes the muscles of the leg in such a way that it allows for the increase in stretching. Stretching being the active component, active stretching. So that the center becomes floated on the stretching leg. So this is where the analogy of the bowl or the water comes into play. So the center floats like a bowl on the water. And then we add in the flowing down of the upper body onto the lower body, which of course increases the stretching in the leg, increases the pressure that supports the pelvic bowl. So the center pressure builds by flowing the upper body down onto the lower body. In such a way that the system is still free to move, it's not jammed. So if the leg jams, and of course that supports the body, that will support the body, but it's jammed, it's not quite the correct system. So we want the leg to be stretching and free. And in that regard, you can listen to the very slight movements of the joints, the knee and the lower back. So they should still be changing as you flow to the ground. And of course we lift the arms to shoulder height and let them fall away. As we know, there's a slightly complex timing between the shoulder and the elbow. So we want the shoulder to fall away whilst the elbow is still lifting, and then the elbow to fall away whilst the wrist is still lifting. Of course, having said that, everything needs to be reasonable from the base up. So we release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back and lengthen the spine. It's only after that point that we can really begin to talk about the waves in the arms. So release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back, which changes the spine. Then the shoulder blades drop, which changes the thoracic region. And it's really only in and around that, if everything is reasonable from the base upwards, that we can begin to talk about the wave in the arms. We change to the second loosening exercises. So I don't do these for too long on the videos. You can spend a little longer, take something you've heard that's of interest, spend a little longer exploring it, but take a really good in-breath, fill the lungs. The out-breath, Mind down, centre down. And then pull up again. So make sure the hips are opening on the lifting, front of the hips, and the lower back, the sacrum's dropping, spine's lengthening on the sinking. A good in-breath on the lifting, good long, gentle, slow out-breath on the sinking. Arms lift to shoulder height, of course. Ideally the shoulder blades drop away before the elbows have finished lifting. Listening to the foot pressure as you're sinking. For the longer trained people, of course, we're listening to the waist pressure. And relax. We'll do the third loosening exercise. There was a question came up about the third loosening exercise. It is hugely complex exercise, but the question was related to the timing between the legs. And basically it's simultaneous. When you're pressing away from the, let's say the front leg pulls on the lead arm, the arm that's out at the front. And then in the pressing away from this front leg, we'll call it the front leg because it's dealing with the front arm, then simultaneously is sinking down and forward into the what we'll call the rear leg, although they're not exactly front and back at this moment in time, but they're dealing with the front arm or the rear arm. So the pressing out of one leg begins the simultaneous sinking down and into the other leg. So it's not a question of 1 and 2, it's a question of both at the same time. So we pressing away while sinking down and forward. And the overlapping of this exercise, or the overlapping of the principles that take place, the phases that take place in this exercise lead to its complexity, you might say. But actually the timing is such in this that it's much closer to the issuing phases, when everything comes together and you manage to throw a person with a good elastic force. So the timing here is more akin to what's required in the issuing. It's a big twisting wave, of course. And the simultaneous pressing away from the front leg whilst sinking into the what we'll call the back leg. And the stretch through the arms, of course. Stretch through the arms in such a way that the turning of the waist pulls simultaneously through the arms. So we've got a pull up and over of the front arm, and a pull, a stretch on the top side of the rear arm to flow down and forward, and then it's pulled up and over. And if you remember the refinement that I brought back from Shanghai is the arms come in on two separate planes, about 10 or 15 degrees towards the center line. So the rear arm flares out a little bit and the front arm is towards the center line, and then they change. So it might not be so evident on the camera angle, but what we used to do was perhaps wrap the arm around the body, and that's clearly not one plane, but a complex series of planes. It's not a plane at all. It's a curve that comes around the body, and we want the arm to be more or less on one plane. So that means it flares out slightly to the back and comes towards the centre line. And relax. We'll do the fourth one. Smooth wave of lifting. Really good in breath. The out breath, take the mind down. Listening to the foot pressure, the waist pressure, shoulder blades drop, elbows drop, wrists are dropping, hips are opening, pull up. Good in breath and out breath, flowing down. Smooth wave of lifting, pull the mind up of course. Mind down, centre down, spine lengthens, shoulder blades drop, hands stabilise, pull up from the feet. Mind down, centre down, shoulder blades drop, hips open, hands fill. Concentrating the spine when you unfurl the spine. Pressing out of the right foot, turn the left toes in. Over and down to the back foot. Shoulder blades drop and the rear hip open. So you want the rear hip and the front knee to go forward. And we settle to the front foot and energise the spine. So we're looking for everything from the lower back to the back of the neck. Excuse me. And then mind back and up. Over and down to the back foot. Flow down and forward so the lower back is opening, shoulder blades are dropping, rear hip opens, front knee goes forward. Settle to the front foot. Energise the spine, sitting back. Good in breath, on the out breath, flow down and forward, knee, lower back, spine, shoulder blades. And then settle to the front foot. Sit a long way back. Back leg is neither straightening nor bending. That really means it's neither actively straightening or actively bending at this point. It's following the centre movements. And then over and down to the back foot. Flow down and forward. Rear hip and front knee. And then settle to the front foot. Sit a long way back. Over and down to the back foot. We're looking for an increasing foot pressure, waist pressure. At its simplest level, looking for an increased foot pressure. Okay, sit back on this one. Breathe in and lift. Concentrate in the back leg. Breathe out and sink. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. Turning to the left. Over and down to the right foot. Flow down and into the centre. Keep the heel down, of course. Send the mind up. Settle to the front foot, energise the spine, sit a long way back. Over down to the back foot, so the rear knee, lower back, and then the shoulder blades are changing. Send the mind out from the rear hip and the front knee goes forward. So the rear hip and the front knee, and then settle to the front foot, sit back through the spine. Over and down to the back foot, which should change the shape of the spine. Shoulder blades drop to increase the changing shape of the spine and the rear hip open. And settle to the front foot. Energise the spine. Sit back through the spine. Over and down to the back foot. Flow down and forward. Keep going. Send the mind out. Settle to the front foot. Find the spine. Sit a long way back. Over and down to the back foot. Flow down and into the centre. Rear hip opens. Front knee goes forward. Settle to the front foot. We sit back on this one. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. Okay, so it's important to concentrate on one or two aspects of the training. So that's different for everybody. So when you go through the loosening exercises, have an idea of what you're working on. At least you should have one thing to work on in each of the loosening exercises, and it may be a related thing or the same thing. So you choose for yourself, of course. Part of this training is that it requires a certain maturity in that you slowly become clearer about where you are in your own practice, and then slowly start to change that. If you need somebody to tell you all the time what to change, then that becomes a slight problem, in that you're not listening deeply enough inside yourself, and you're not taking responsibility for your own training. So that's actually, you just got to look around the world and you see how people don't take responsibility for themselves. So you've got to, this is part of the training really, a deeper part of the training is learning to take responsibility for yourself. And then slowly reviewing and modifying what needs to be changed. So we're just picking a piece of the form. It's the fifth section. So fifth section begins with single whip, and then we'll go through a piece. So from the single whip position, snake creeps down. I just do it a couple of times with perhaps increasing detail. It's connecting to the front foot, sit back, open the front toes, over and down to the left leg as you're stepping, shoulder blades drop for the wrists to lift, stepping back, retreat to right tiger, small turn to the right, turn to the left, stepping behind, sinking to the back leg. Shoot tiger with bow. And that's where we started from last time. Shoot tiger with bow. So we just do that again. So from the snake creeps down, it's quite square to the end wall, and then connect to the front foot, push back through the spine so you pivot on the heel of the back foot, ball of the back foot, sit back and the arms lengthened, adjusting the front foot by pivoting on the heel. Now we're going to drop under the knee. So we're trying to get something behind the fingers to drive the fingers. Open the front toes, closing the back toes by pivoting on the heel. We want the rear hip to be driving the fingers really, shoulder blades down, as if pushing the fingers up through something from the rear hip. And settle to the front foot, energize the spine, sit back and the right hand opens, left hand falls. Open the left toes. You can lift out of the back leg here, palms are turning towards you, and then as you step we want to sink down and into the back leg. Shoulder blades dropping for the wrists to lift towards the height of the throat. The wrists rotate, stepping back. Turn 45 degrees to the right, hands drop into the quad, pivot on the heel of the front foot, turn back on the ball of the front foot, still sinking to the back leg by the way. Small circle in for the, whatever it's called. Then turning to the right, turn left, stepping behind, keep sinking into the back leg. It's a long and awkward move. We'll try not to let the back leg jam, although it's almost impossible. Turning to the right, the hands are trailing the turning of the waist. Sit back through the lengthening arms. Lower body falls away, shoulder blades drop, elbows drop, wrists drop. Palms as if they're pulled over something, and the shoulder blades drop for the shoot tiger. Remember, it's one span from the eyebrow, one span from the ribs. We'll do that again. Hopefully the camera's picking up the, I'm not out of camera angle hopefully. Single whip, quite square. Connect to the front foot, sit back, pivot on the heel. The ball of the foot, arms are lengthening. Adjust the front foot, drop under the knee. Adjusting the back foot as early as you can. Keep the hip pressing into the fingers if you can. Shoulder blades drop and the fingers are pressing up through towards the ceiling. Connect to the front foot, sit back and the left hand drops, right hand opens. Open the left toes. Lifting out of the back leg and then sinking to the left leg. Shoulder blades dropping. Wrists are lifting to the height of the throat. Stepping, retreat to right tiger. Still sinking as you turn back to the front. A small turn to the right stretches through the trunk and the arms. Turn to the left and the hands drop away and then pick up to the left. Stepping behind. Keep sinking to the back leg. Circling the right toes. Stepping out. Turning to the right, turn the left toes in. Press away from the right foot, push back through the spine, the arms lengthen. Lower body falls away, shoulders fall away, elbows fall away, wrists as if they're pulled over something, palms as if they're pulled over something. Shoulder blades still dropping for the shoot tiger. I do it this way. So from the single whip, snake creeps down, pivot on the heel, ball of the foot, sit back and the arms are lengthening, drop under the knee. Adjusting the back foot as early as you can to keep the rear hip pushing into the fingers. Shoulder blades drop and the hip opens. Push back through the spine, left hand drops. Open the left toes, over and down to the left foot. So we don't want the body to lift as you step, a definite mistake. Over and down to the left foot. So you're sinking, shoulder blades drop, wrists are lifting, wrists rotate, stepping back, pivot on the heel of the front foot, still sinking as you turn back, pivoting on the ball of the front foot, small circle, turn to the right, turn to the left, the hands drop away and lift. You're going to step behind, keep sinking to the back leg, circle, circle. We'll try not to get the back leg jammed, but it's impossible almost. Turning to the right, turn the left toes in, press away from the front foot. This is a lifting, over and down to the back foot. Center falls away, shoulders fall away, elbows fall away, wrists are falling up either side of the hip. Shoulder blades drop for the shoot tiger. One span to the eyebrow, one span to the elbow. Do that again. So, single whip, snake creeps down. Adjusting the back foot as early as you can. We try to get something pressing the fingers. So, because I interrupted that, we'll do that again. Talking too much. So, pivot on the heel of the foot, ball of the foot, sit back, drop under the knee. Sit a long way back. Lifting out of the back leg to drop into what is the front leg and becomes the back leg. Step away. So, sinking. Turn to the right. Turn to the left. Keep sinking. Turning to the right. Turn the left toes in. Press away from the right foot, lengthening through the arms. Shoulder blades drop, elbows drop. Shoot tiger. One span, one span. Maybe one more time. A little faster. We'll go through the form perhaps, the meditation perhaps. So we spend a little longer on the meditation this time. So I deliberately didn't spend so long on the listenings, not so long on the form, but a piece of the form. So we just do the meditation. Take a really good in-breath, fill the lungs. And on the out-breath, take the awareness down from the crown of the head, down through the brain, closing down through the chest and trunk, melting. If you genuinely melt the body, something slides down. There's a pressure in the seat. Spread the awareness out into the room, and then beyond the room into the outer streets. The occasional sound of a car passing. Withdraw the mind from the outer world back to yourself, back to the lower dantian. Take a really good in-breath. Awareness on the crown of the head. Come down through the brain, the closing down again. Melting down through the chest and trunk. Find the increasing pressure in the seat. Spread out into the room. Awareness in the room. Spread beyond the room into the outer world, just locally. And then pull back from the outer world, leaving it distant. Pull back to yourself, to the lower dantian. Gentle in-breath. And on the out-breath, fall into the daydreaming mind. So this is cut off from the outer world, cut off from the body, in that part of the mind that can take you into a daydreaming bubble. And then we'll wake up again, deliberately so. Good in-breath and draw the awareness to the crown of the head. The out-breath, come down through the brain, the closing down, the melting down through the chest and trunk. Pressure in the seat. Awareness in the room. Awareness beyond the room into the local environment. And then pull back from that, leaving it distant. Pull back to yourself. Gentle in-breath. And on the out-breath, allow yourself to fall into an unfathomably deep space that represents your inner world. Keep falling, let go. And then we touch back into the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. We're looking for tingling, fullness, warmth, with a full concentration. Spread the awareness around the hands and feet. Capture the backs of the hands, the tops of the feet, the individual fingers and toes, the heat field that jumps the gaps between the fingers and toes and surrounds the hands and feet. And then allow the awareness to move up through the ankles and wrists, capturing the sensations, up through the lower arms and legs, up through to the knees and elbows, continue on up into the upper arms and legs, rising smoothly up into the hips and shoulders. And then sense simultaneously into the forelimbs, looking for the deepest sensations you can find in the limbs. Spread out into the heat field that surrounds the limbs. And then take something of that thick, warm field that surrounds the body. Take it from the shoulders up through the neck to surround the head. So the head now cloaked in a cloud of awareness. And deliberately pull that down from the head, down through the neck, down through the chest and trunk. Looking for something deeper than the warmth and fullness. We're looking for the energetic systems of the body. Down to the base between the legs, the perineum. And with a gentle in-breath, We gather from all around us, gathering a cloud of light at the base between the legs. On the out breath, you can allow the awareness to ripple back out around the body again. On the gentle in-breath, the gathering from all around you, a cloud of light that you compress down to a fist-sized cloud of light at the base between the legs. For a third time, on the out-breath, let the awareness spread out around the body. And then the gathering of a cloud of light at the base between the legs. So we remain concentrated at the base. Now when you're ready, we'll begin the 8 paths. On a gentle in-breath, pull the mind from the base round to the sacrum, smoothly pulling a continuous stream of something up the spine, in and around the spine, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck to the crown of the head. With the out-breath, the flowing down over the front center line of the body, over the face, throat, chest. Forget the breathing and pull in and around the base. Once again, form the intention to lift, and on a gentle in-breath, pull round to the sacrum, a continuous stream of something, pulled up to the belt line at the spine, round the belt line at 1 centimetre or 2 either side of the spine, and then 2 streams of light either side of the spine all the way up the back, pulled up with a long, strong effort. And on the out-breath, flow down from the shoulders, over the outsides of the arms, outsides of the forearms, backs of the hands, in the middle fingers and into the palms of the hands. Full concentration, look for the warmth and fullness mainly. Now 2 pools of energy at the palms of the hands, because that's what we're listening for. We're listening for that energetic quality. So from there, from the palms of the hands, we pull up again, simultaneously up the inside of each arm, like pulling 2 streams of light, all the way up the arms, on a gentle in-breath, up onto the chest. The out-breath, the flowing down the 2 sides of the chest. Forget the breathing, down to the belt line, flow round to the navel, down the front center line to the base between the legs. Concentrate at the base. Form the intention to lift again and pull strongly up through the central upper body to the height of the solar plexus. And then flowing back down to the base between the legs, spread up over the quad, the hip crease. Begin to flow down the fronts and outsides of the legs. Forget the breathing, continue over the fronts and outsides of the knees, fronts and outsides of the shins, down to the crease in the ankle. Rise onto the tops of the feet and along to the middle toes, into the soles of the feet. Concentrate fully at the soles of the feet for the warmth and fullness. From there, pull up strongly again, up the instep, snaking behind the ankle, 2 streams of light. The inside backs of the calves, across the crease in the back of the knee, the inside backs of the thighs, up to the base between the legs, and on the central channel to the height of the navel inside. The out-breath flowing back to the base again. So we've just spent the time driving the energy through the nervous system of the body. Now we gather the available energy in and around the lower dantian, from the base between the legs to the height of the navel. So each in-breath gathering the cloud of light in and around the lower body energy centers. The out-breath, the awareness can spread out into the heat field and beyond. The in-breath, the gathering in strongly. The out-breath, you can allow the awareness to spread out around the body again. And then the in-breath, the gathering. So strongly concentrated at the lower body energy centers. And now when you're ready, we'll use a very strong effort to pull up through the center of the upper body, as if pulling something that's unstoppable up to the height of the solar plexus. And on the out breath, we allow a cloud of light to billow out and fill the chest, fills the body, spills out into the heat field. Beyond the heat field, spills into the arm's length distance that surrounds the body, to the back and sides, above and below. Don't forget the back and sides. And gather at the base again and pull strongly up in such a way that the muscles inside are activated. Up to the height of the solar plexus, and on the out breath, the billowing out through the chest, body, heat field, and into the arm's length distance. So now listen out in the cloud of light more than in the body itself. And for a third time, we let the mind gather at the base and pull strongly up with a really big effort inside yourself. This is shifting the energy from one level to another to stimulate the deep emotional. The out breath, the billowing out cloud of light that expands out through the chest, body, heat field, and into the arm's length distance. And at this time, we want to strengthen the energy systems of the body, so taking the awareness out into this arm's length distance, but then activating the intention within it. So move the mind in and around this sphere, like moving the hand in water or something, create eddies and swirling currents. So move the mind in and around the limbs, like swirling clouds of smoky light, in any pattern you want, in and around the arms, in and around the trunk, swirling around the body in some way that suits you. So a really big concentrated effort, just move the mind in and around the etheric body. And then we allow the cloud of light to resume its arm's length sphere. We gently take that cloud of light and compress it gently down to in and around the solar plexus, up into the chest, from the solar plexus to the base of the throat, armpit to armpit. And go deeply and quietly into the center of the light, centered in the middle dantian, the seat of the deep emotional. So choose some person. So when you do this for yourself and you have longer, you can switch from a person to person, a number of people. But for now, we'll choose one person. Be very clear on who it is and send the stream of light out from the center of your middle dantian to the person. Surround them with the light. So this is a soul-to-soul connection. You can offer a thought, feeling or question. My preference is always a feeling, because this is the deep emotional center. Then with a clear sense of respect and thanks for the connection made, can leave the person surrounded with light. All that we withdraw is our intention, so we don't, it's not a, we just withdraw our intention. So we leave the person surrounded with light and withdraw our delicate stream of intention back to the middle dantian. Expand out around the body once again, out into the arm's length distance. Take that cloud of light and allow it to gently reduce back down to in and around the solar plexus. And now we push the cloud of light with some effort up through the chest, up through the neck, into the center of the head. Now centered in the upper dantian. Allow the cloud of light to expand out into the arm's length distance. Centered in the head. And take cloud of light and allow it to gently reduce down to surround the head. So go deeply and quietly into the center of the light centered in the head, with the express intention of connecting to your inner guide or guide to the conscience. So this is a very deep or high part of yourself that really its only interest is your inner development. So you can ask something inside yourself about what you need to work on to develop yourself. Or if you already know what you need to work on, then maybe you need to know how to work on it. So you ask inside yourself for help to develop yourself. And over time, thoughts may come, dreams may come, situations may be set up for you to learn from. For now, with a sense of deep respect and thanks, you can close that part of the exercise. We allow the cloud of light once again, still centered in the head, to expand out into the arm's length distance. Then begin to allow the cloud of light once again to reduce down to surround the head. So now with a clear and strong intention, pull the cloud of light down from the head, down through the neck, down through the chest to the solar plexus. You can do that twice more if you feel there's too much energy left in the head. So pull the cloud of light down strongly with no nonsense approach. Just pull it down, centering the energy in and around the middle dantian. Centered in the middle dantian, you can allow the cloud of light once again to expand out into the arm's length distance. So in this harmonized state, it might be the reasonable time, it would be the reasonable time to do something we refer to as the daily dying. So this is where you pick a significant moment in the last hours, days or weeks, something that's usually had some significant emotional ripples with it. And you can review that situation from a deeper part of yourself. So not seeking to justify your actions, not seeking to blame the other person, but seeing what went on from a deeper level. And then perhaps even resolving to behave in a slightly different way, or to be more aware, so you see the situation building from an earlier stage. And you can even project that into the future a little, to have a resolve to behave in a slightly different way should the same or similar circumstance appear in your life again. So this is called the daily dying that my teacher teaches. For now, we'll concentrate in and around the arm's length distance. Once again, touch into the hands and the feet, look for the tingling, fullness, warmth. Spread that simultaneously throughout the whole system. So the body, a seething mass of sensations, warmths, fullnesses, tinglings, coolnesses. Listen out into the heat field beyond the limits of the skin. And then listen just beyond the limits of the heat field into the area that's quite difficult to sense into. So listen to that which can't quite yet be heard, or sense into that can't quite yet be sensed. but we make our attempt. And then give yourself a suggestion to keep a connection to this deeper part of yourself. We'll slowly allow the eyes to open. So the meditation that we use, strictly speaking, is an energy transformation exercise. As almost everybody watching these videos will know, that my teacher was influenced strongly by three streams of esoteric teaching, Taoist, the Sufi Gnostic, and the yogic traditions, and has attempted to strip away the cultural differences that exist between those three teachings, strip away the cultural differences, and strip away the personality differences of the teachers who actually taught them, and concentrate on the unifying truths that existed between all three systems. So that was a huge effort over a long time. And of course the work still goes on. My teacher's still working strongly in these ways. Just to say that when we do these exercises, if you're not so familiar with them, and even if you are familiar with them, it's really important to anchor yourself in the true sensations of the body. Because if you just think your way through the exercise, it's not doing what's required. So I remind you of the story that my teacher tells of the disciple of the Buddha who came to the Buddha and said, I've been with you for 20 years and done everything that you asked. And the Buddha said, yes, you've done everything that I asked, but you've done it with your everyday mind. So what that really tells us is that we need to close down and do things with a much deeper part of ourselves. And that's a difficult step, but we teach a step-by-step method to do that. And the step-by-step method begins by listening into the sensations that we talk of. So the tingling, the pain sensors, the warmth or coolness is the temperature sensors, and the fullness, pressure sensors. And if you really concentrate on those, because not everybody who watches these will have been training for a long time, if you do your best to concentrate on those and just make that the foundation of your practice, then that's a good thing that builds a foundation. That means you've got something to build on to step further into the practices. And so if you're relatively new, then what we're doing is probably quite advanced, and it's a big jump. So I would concentrate on the earlier stages and concentrate on those for 3 times as long, so you don't have to watch these videos all the way through. You can just stop at the bit that you need, and then concentrate further for yourself. Okay, so that's probably about 50 minutes. Guessing I didn't check exactly when I started. I'm trying to keep them a little bit under an hour. Under an hour. It's a bit strange teaching to a camera, and I think under an hour for everybody is probably okay. Because people are training at home and doing this and that. There'll be other things that they need to do, and you can, of course, you don't have to do the whole thing, the whole 15 minutes at once. You can take the loosening exercises and then take a piece of the form, and then, of course, if you know the form, I would expect that you'll be training that in its entirety at some other point, as I do myself. So I'm fortunate in there's a small park just down the road, literally 7 minutes walk. So I go there and I train the loosenings, short form, long form, quick fist, sometimes the stick, and then the meditation if it's not too cold outside, and then walk back to the house. So that's my allowable exercise at the moment. Okay, all right. We'll leave it there. Stay well, and feedback if you can. If there's questions you have, some people are asking them. That's good. And just drop me an email if you have any questions. Okay, stay well. Take care.